Hey, I hope you guys are all doing well. So we're going to be talking about spotting and what it means for your fertility, what it means for your hormonal health, and the different times of the month that it's happening and what that means. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Let me just get my my notes situated. Okay, so what spotting can tell you about your fertility and is it normal? So there's a lot of different times of the month that you can have spotting, and that means different things. So first of all, brown spotting that occurs in the absence of regular menstruation. So what I mean by spotting is this is going to be little bits of blood that are happening that are not your period. A period is going to be like a full flow, whereas spotting is going to be just that. It's going to be just a little bit of blood happening. So this is actually something that, this is something that is common during pregnancy. So if you don't have a period and you're spotting, take a pregnancy test. That's one of the most common things that happens is brown spotting during pregnancy, which actually tends to be pretty normal. Now, if you are experiencing brown spotting when you're supposed to be having your period and you are not pregnant, that could be a sign of low hormone. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Now, if you guys end up having any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the comments and I will answer them right after I teach this little class. So that could be a sign of low hormones. Now, brown spotting that's occurring after the cycle. So this is brown spotting that is starting to occur after you've had your period. This could be the body's natural attempt at clearing out old blood from the previous cycle. This is Zevia. It's a stevia sweetened soda type thing. It's also not uncommon for this to happen for 1 or 2 days after your period, kind of as part of your period finishing. Now, if it continues past 2 days, this could be a sign that there could be a hormonal imbalance as well. Now, brown spotting that occurs mid-cycle. So this would be during ovulation. This could be a sign that ovulation has occurred. Some women actually experience spotting during ovulation or after intercourse during ovulation. So that could be something that, again, is just normal for them. It could be cervical irritation that's happened from sex or a result of ovulation. Now, if you're having spotting a little bit past ovulation, that also can be a sign of implantation. That happens for a lot of women. So if you're actively trying to conceive, you tracked ovulation, you get your timing all right, and then you see some spotting past ovulation, that could be implantation occurring. Now, if it's the period of time after ovulation to normally when you would have your period and you're having spotting during that time, it also could be low progesterone, and you might possibly need some type of progesterone support or to look at estrogen dominance and see if that could be causing some progesterone deficiencies happening. So know that it happening once in a while is perfectly normal, but once there starts to be a pattern, kind of pay attention to that and look at that. So the reason it could be low progesterone is what's maintaining the uterine lining long enough so that implantation can occur. So if you have low progesterone, you're going to start shedding that lining earlier than you should, and that's going to affect implantation. That's going to affect, being able to carry a pregnancy early on in your first trimester, those early days. So that also can be a sign if you're having spotting kind of mid-cycle. That can also be something that happens when you're starting a new program or regime that is focused on the hormonal system and hormonal balance. So for instance, if you start using something such as Vitex or using phytoestrogenic herbs, or for some people, we've seen it with maca, or you start using progesterone cream. Any of these things where you're starting to work on the hormonal system, the hormone balance, even though they're all good, a lot of times that when you start taking them, all of your receptor sites kind of wake up. This is the simplified explanation. All of your receptor sites wake up and they're going to stimulate all kinds of things. So you might have sore breasts, you might feel nauseous, you might kind of feel like PMS. Any of these kind of exaggerated results of hormones, you can feel those things and they're actually perfectly normal. So sometimes spotting happens to be one of those things. So just kind of being aware of like, oh, wait, I just started Vitex 2 weeks ago, or, oh, wait, I started doing A, B, or C to help with my estrogen dominance and I'm having spotting. oh, okay, that's a sign that things are shifting. So it's actually not always a bad sign. We actually see it pretty common with women who are starting some type of hormonal supportive program to have some type of spotting during the cycle. Now, if you're experiencing chronic brown spotting or discharge like throughout the month, and this ends up being something that's regular for you, this is something that we've seen in women who have PCOS, or someone who's having an imbalance between their progesterone and estrogen levels. So like estrogen dominant type situations like endometriosis, uterine fibroids, that can also possibly, I say possibly because all of these things we're just learning to learn more about our bodies, and there's ways of actually knowing for sure if they're happening, like getting testing done and those types of things. But this is just to help kind of start listening to your body and to kind of explore and say, hey, what might be going on if this spotting is happening, right? So it's generally showing an imbalance between estrogen and progesterone or something like that. In a lot of cases, that is estrogen dominance, because estrogen dominance can make progesterone low. That's one of the first areas we look at when we think that there might be some low progesterone. Is there an estrogen dominant situation happening? Again, it can also happen when you're making hormonal changes with natural therapies, working any of those things. Now, of course, if you have if spotting is completely new and it's something that is happening kind of like for a long time each month, no harm in checking in with your doctor, or no harm in getting some hormone testing done if you're trying to figure out what's going on. I just wanted to share some of these kind of insights with you so you could understand if you start tracking your cycle and you're noticing spotting happening at certain times, you can kind of think about that and connect the dots and say, hey, maybe this is happening. And then looking for any other possible signs of that type of imbalance or whatever might be happening in your system. So keeping track of when you're spotting, that can be something that's really helpful if this is something that you're experiencing. Again, it's another tool, just like paying attention to what your period is like, or fertility charting, to learn kind of the signals and signs that your body are showing you about your reproductive health. Okay, so I've got a couple of questions here. Is it normal for my period to go from 7 days to 4 days? So Jessica, it depends what's going on and what's normal for you. So for some women, like 7 days is kind of long for a period, but if that's what you've had for ever since you've started your period and that's your new normal, or that's your normal, and you go to 4 days, 4 days isn't, I don't think it's anything necessarily to be alarmed about. That can be a normal length as well. So fluctuating between those periods of time without any other types of signs or changes, it's hard to know, what's happened. If it's only happened once, also, like stuff like that happens. Like sometimes we get stressed out, or sometimes, our cycles are just off for a month. That's can be perfectly normal. So, okay, great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you found this helpful and you're learning a little bit more about how to read your body and listen to your body and all the different signs that it is sharing with you. All right. Hope you have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.